Hey guys, and welcome back for a new review. Today we're going to take a look at the 1991 G.I. Joe Hall of Fame Duke. This figure is the figure that launched the line. You'll see there's two here. There was originally 3 Duke figures created. The first one was the Target exclusive, which had a unique head sculpt. And then after that, the very first one to come out as a general release is actually this one. So I guess you can call it version 1.5. And then finally that's version 2. Differences between them is the torso on the 1.5 and the very first Target exclusive was the more generic body style. Also, the Target exclusive had more open hands. The version 2 got the more standardized muscle body that would be used for the rest of the Hall of Fame line. And it was a good choice too. It was a much better, more muscular military looking body. So with that in mind, I'm going to pull this one to the side because the packaging is pretty much the same for both of them. We're going to be taking a closer look at version 2 today. He does come with the electronic light and sound battle weapon. We'll see that's still working from 1991. This is a feat in itself. Flipping the box around to the side, you get a really nice image of Duke, and then to the back, the other 4 figures or the other 3 figures that would round out wave 1 of the line, which is Cobra Commander, Stalker, and Snake Eyes. There's a look at the file card. You could feel free to pause and read that. And then finally it had a really unique write-up on the back because this is the first 12-inch G.I. Joe released in the United States since 1976. So it was a pretty special moment for Hasbro and G.I. Joe to give their Real American Hero line, which started in 1982, 12-inch counterparts just like the originals. So stay tuned, we're going to take a closer look at Duke. Okay, and here is Duke out of package. Really beautiful figure, an excellent camouflage uniform that they provided for him. So we'll just take a look at the accessories first before we get into the figure. So one of the main things you get is the operations manual. This was a throwback to the 1960s G.I. Joes, in which would come with a manual just like this. You can see as you flip it open, it gives you the history of G.I. Joe. Some of the positions, very reminiscent of the 60s Joes. Gives you the points of articulation. I always found this useful, all the ranks. Pretty cool, and they had it for all the different branches. If you got the Marine, you would get theirs. How to change the uniforms, breakdown on the equipment itself, and then the breakdown on the uniform. Really cool information, and the G.I. Joe Oath of Honor. And the Pledge of Allegiance right on the back. Really nice. Next, we'll take a look at the main battle weapon. This pretty much is a bullpup design. It's not really all that real world, but it's not that far from it. It does have the electronic lights and sounds. Unique gimmick. Pretty interesting that it still works. Unfortunately, there is no way to access the battery compartment to continue to keep it working if it were to die. So that's unfortunate. You also get a knife and sheath. Also has a strap to put it on the figure. And then a 9mm Beretta, as well as a holster and a strap for the other leg. All molded in black. And finally comes with a display stand. Really nice feature. Has a textured base. Has the G.I. Joe logo. Very nice touch. Just grips onto the boots. Taking a closer look at the figure, look at the head sculpt here. It's really good head sculpt. It's got the classic G.I. Joe scar on the cheek. It's definitely Duke. It's got his blue eyes and his blonde hair. Removing his helmet, you take a closer look at that. He has the lifelike flocked hair, which is a really nice touch. The helmet itself is got a canvas cover on it. And just like the rest of the uniform is a 6-color chocolate chip, which was the standard desert uniform for the U.S. Army at the time. This figure, of course, was released just after the Desert Storm War. So this figure would kind of represent the Army in that regard. It's nice on the uniform. It does have his name, and it has his branch of service, as well as the G.I. Joe logo on the pocket. Really nice, and it's not bold, or it's just a nice small patch. Also has his rank on his arm. 4 pockets on his BDUs, or battle dress uniform. Going down, also you notice on the cuffs of the actual top, you have even felt and button detail, and also they doubled up the material around his elbow, which is really nice touch. 2 more big cargo pockets on each side of his leg. Then he has desert tan combat boots molded in the rubbery material, very soft. Has a boot pattern on the bottom. All really nice details for 1991. And then on the back of the figure, he does have a working backpack, fully made out of cloth. So let's get Duke geared up. Alright, so here's Duke all geared up. Got his gear on his legs, his assault rifle on the side. One feature to note is the knife could fit onto the assault rifle. You could pull it out of the sheath and clip it in place so you could have a bayonet. It's a neat feature. And one of the most important features for G.I. Joe, I believe, is his dog tag. So they did produce metal dog tags for the Hall of Fame line. Reminiscent, again, of the 1960s Joes. So they're real metal. One side would say G.I. Joe, and the other side would actually have their detailed information, name, rank, and serial number, all on the dog tags. These ones look a little fogged up, but they did come out of the package that way. You could actually use rubbing alcohol, cleans that right off. It's just some kind of natural oxidation that happens to the metal. But really awesome looking G.I. Joe figure. They really did a nice job on these Hall of Fame figures. I know a lot of the collectors are not huge fans of them because of the articulation. The articulation wasn't the greatest, but he pretty much put him in any pose for basic display. So he was good enough, but it was nice when they added more and more articulation as the line continued from the Hall of Fame to the Classic Collection. But the outfit design looks fantastic. It even influenced the 3 3/4 line, where they made version 4 of Duke a pretty close approximation of this Duke. Of course, the color is brighter, but the idea of it is the same. So that's it, guys. That's a look at the 1991 Duke figure from the Hall of Fame. Leave some comments down below if you had this figure. Special note on the side, this was actually my very first 12-inch G.I. Joe figure I've ever gotten. And it's what sparked my interest and passion for the 1/6 scale action figures was this figure. So it's really cool to finally get a review up on this particular guy. And as always, thanks for watching.